Smart, smart, do. We are the children, the children of God. Come, come, come. We change our world. We have what it takes to do it smart and make it smart. Welcome to our Smart Do.
Hello, grade 4 pupils. Welcome again to our lesson for today. Today we are going to look at making floaters to sink. In the previous lesson, we said that we have factors affecting floating and sinking. And those two factors that affect floating and sinking, we said one, we have the shape and the material. We have the shape and materials. Those are the two factors that affect floating and sinking. Now, today I want us to look at how can we make floaters to sink. Floaters are things which float on water. Can we make them to sink? Yes. One, when you look at this is a tin. This tin, when placed on water, it is going to float. How can we make that tin to sink? By changing its shape. So one thing how we can make, one way of making floaters to sink is by changing the shape. By changing the shape. How do we change the shape? We crush the material. For example, this lid, this tin, we can change its shape. We can change its shape to this way. So when we place it on water, it is going to sink. Same to a bottle top. When we place a bottle top on water, it is going to float. But when we change its shape, it is going to sink. So one way of making floaters to sink is by changing the shape. Another way in which we can make floaters to sink is by adding the weight. By adding weight to the floaters. For example, because one thing that floaters sink is because why they float is because they are light. For example, this tin, when we place it here, it will float. Why? Because it is very light. What if we add a stone? What if we add a stone to that tin? What is it going to do? Does the tin float on water? No. Why? It is because we have added some weight to that stone. It is going to sink. Initially, this tin is going to float on water because it is light. When we add a stone, it is going to sink in water. Why? Because we have added the weight. So one way in which we can make floaters to sink is by changing the shape. That is, we crush the floaters, or we add some weight to the floaters. Now, let us look at how can we make sinkers to float. Making sinkers to float. Making sinkers to float. How can we make sinkers to float? What are sinkers? Sinkers are materials which sink in water. Examples of sinkers, we have stones. We also have a nail. Nail can sink in water. And also a coin. A coin, when placed on water, it is going to sink. How can we make these sinkers to float? One, by changing shape. By changing the shape. How? I gave you an example of plasticine. Plasticine, when it is in this shape, is going to sink in water. It's going to sink in water. But when we change its shape, when we make it have the shape of a boat or a bowl, when we make it have the shape of a boat or a bowl, it is going to float on water. So you can see it is floating on water because we have changed its shape. So it is going to float on water. Another method or another way of making sinkers to float is by placing them on a light thing or on a floater. For example, this stone, when you place this stone on water, it is going to sink. How can we make that stone to float? By placing it on a floater. For example, this piece of we place it there. You can see now the stone is floating. Why? We have placed it on a floater. So another method or another way of making floaters, sinkers to float is by placing them on floaters. Placing them on floaters. Just like that stone, we also have a piece of nail. A piece of nail, when placed in water, it is going to sink. But when we place it on this piece of wood, you can see the nail is going to float. The nail is floating. Why? Because it is on a floater. So we can make sinkers to float by changing the shape, or we place them on floaters. We can make floaters to sink by changing shape or adding weight to them. So that is all about today's lesson, and I wish you all the best. Thank you.